for our Patreon, I thought that what we would do is we would review Price's review of The Martian. His little clips, and we would all just get together and be like, "All right, let's watch it."
Yeah.
We all have popcorn.
It's like
we
3
could probably
minutes.
do a little bonus.
Like a little
content.
one-off content for them. The Martian, the best video that you haven't watched yet.
It's only 3 minutes long.
I know.
Look at my nose.
See you somebody, Tim. Bye, Joe.
Guys.
Bye, Jill!
Bye. Yeah, I don't think I took. Nah, I didn't take notes on this one.
I didn't either.
I knew exactly what I wanted to
Just,
say.
I knew right at the beginning, because I had kind of forgotten about the beginning of this movie, but I knew a lot of the stuff at the start I wasn't necessarily going to remember super clearly, so I would need notes for. And I love so much of the beginning of this movie.
Oh man,
Is it
It's
because
so
it starts with
ridiculous.
Marilyn Manson? Huh? Does
No,
that set the
no,
tone?
it doesn't even start with it.
Yeah,
It-
it's...
Oh, that's what. Yeah, when they're
it's
showing
like
the house.
22 minutes
yeah.
in.
Well,
Yeah.
let's
Just
start
start
there.
right,
Just
right,
say
right.
before we get into it, who else pirated this?
No, it was on HBO.
Yeah, see, I don't have HBO anymore.
What?
So you
You
pirated
didn't
it?
have it like a week ago, or you
Yeah.
had it a week ago.
Yeah, for House of the Dragon, but then Kelly and I
you cut
canceled
it
it because
out.
it got to be too expensive. But anyway,
Okay.
the stream, I watched on like Soap or whatever that you sent.
So,
Mine jumped around like
Yes,
super
It
fucking
did, I
bad.
forgot
it
about
did!
I forgot about that, and I thought it was just part of it.
I thought it was too until like it showed something in the future and then it went back to the present. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Wait,
And
so
then-
did you got some weird Quentin Tarantino edit, or is
Did
it just
y'all
the
watch
player?
like a correct version at some point?
It was a correct version,
It
but
was-
for some reason, like if the movie's like this long, somebody would take like this chunk and then moved it into here.
Only
Right
for like
in the rest
a
of that-
minute or two, maybe
Yeah.
like 4 minutes tops, and it would be like the businessman was like in his office, like talking on the phone or something.
And then it cut to the sanitarium where
Yeah.
like people were getting tortured. Like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
happening?
and we thought it was like legit, and then it would cut back to like the end of that guy's conversation because I thought it was supposed to tie in.
Yeah.
And then you like I don't know went another 30 minutes, and then it would
Yeah.
happen like one more time.
This is what happens when
It
you guys
was
get on these sketchy
weird.
websites. You guys find these weird
It was
edits.
weird.
Zach, this has clearly tainted their perception.
Oh
Clearly.
yeah.
You're not going to be
Clearly.
able to objectively.
It honestly
No,
has not
no.
changed mine.
Asterisk.
It has
So we're
not
gonna
changed mine.
asterisk right up front, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna take both of their slices
If anything,
and put return.
I mean, they
and
really-
pass it off.
slap it with like a
Oh,
return
God.
sticker.
Yeah,
No,
return.
that would be punishing me.
Yeah,
I
that's
can,
right.
I can tell you everything that happened in this movie.
It
definitely didn't take it away.
Not in its particular order, but
Yeah.
you guys like listen. I went to the restaurant. I just got dessert first, and then I got
And ate
the
the
appetizer
rolls.
second, and then I got the dinner third. But I had the same meal you guys did.
Kinda. Where's the wheel?
Where's the wheel?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'll eat it. I think the only thing that's left is 3 movies, right?
It's Gladiator, Oh
Eighth
Brother,
grade.
and
8th grade,
8th grade. Yeah,
I think.
There's only 3 left.
yeah.
Should be.
Unless we hit
Back
retro
over
again.
here.
Then we do the bracket.
Well, unless
No.
one of these little purple boys pops up.
Oh, and it will. I'll tell you right now, it's
And
guessed.
if it's retro review,
It's retro. I
And
know
retro.
it's raw.
we have
It's-
Raw.
we
and
know
we're
it
done.
is.
raw, and then we're done.
That's on the contract. That
I
slice
agree-
doesn't come
I
off the
agree.
wheel until it happens.
I mean,
I agreed with these
You-
terms.
You don't feel like Phone Booth deserves. A
No,
retro
fuck you.
review?
I
All I
know.
know is
I'll
first
just watch it
movie.
again. I'll
It's
just
the
watch it again
first movie,
separately.
though.
No, and we'll get to it. But Raw comes first.
Raw-
Raw comes
bad.
first.
Yeah,
I
but they're
agree.
saying that it's done after that.
It is.
There's still
3
a
to
lot
1.
of other retro
No.
reviews.
I just
No.
know that it's terrible that like we're basically like every time retro comes on, we're like, what movie do we really even want to talk
There's-
about?
there's like-
I don't
There's
know.
like 2 or 3 movies left. It's Raw, Phone Booth, and
It's not even though like it's like okay.
Give me the list. I'll tell you what my other.
Well, we've already hit like 5 of them.
Well, we only got 2.
We already agreed to this in Signal a while ago.
No, we didn't say killing it off.
So
we said we definitely were gonna
everything
do Raw.
that has retroed by it has been retroed.
Okay.
I'm saying
Everything
80% of
else
what's
is
left is
Phone
poop.
Booth.
It is.
If
I
not
agree.
90.
What are you talking about?
Bro.
There's fucking Fifth Element in there.
Whoa,
I'm
Sassy
not
Boy.
doing
Price is
that.
Warriors in
Price
there.
is saying to X-nay it when he's already gotten most of his movies retro.
Well, that's
reviewed.
classic Price.
Yeah, and I'm not doing
Yeah,
Megamind,
look,
and I'm not doing Kung
Okay.
Fu
And
Panda
Penguin
either.
Highway.
Here's what I'll tell you.
I
is-
didn't choose Penguin Highway. Dylan chose Penguin Highway.
No,
Yeah,
Dylan
but
for the
chose
retro.
it
I
for
chose
Yeah,
him.
but it
that
was
for
your movie.
Rihanna.
I did not pitch it. That
All
was
right,
not
so
my
I'll tell you
doing.
right
I
now.
didn't want to
Here's
see that movie again.
I didn't either.
I said Raw, I said Phone Booth. Those were easy ones. But here are like the real winners that are still hiding in here. Warrior, and that's a me pick.
Prisoners.
Don't care.
Prisoners.
We've talked about
We've
that.
literally
V
done
for
both of those two.
V for
Megamind-
Vendetta is a Nathan 10, and if we're gonna use his logic to get your movie in-
Warrior we
Well,
did.
No,
We're recording this, by the
So-
way.
Oh, gotcha. There we go.
Interview
Okay, so these
Vampire up.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
oh, and Dylan's like, oh no, this is shit.
I
All right.
fucking hate those movies.
All right, it's mostly trash. And we've reviewed. Did we re-review?
I'm gonna go back to the
Yeah, we
signal
did.
where we already agreed on this. This is a moot
I don't recall
point.
that.
We didn't agree
Okay,
to
I'll-
killing it.
I-
but
you all
feel
keep
like I
talking,
would have been
I'll find
against
it.
that.
I think I like thumbs upped it, and then no one else said anything to it or reacted to it.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll do Raw and then we'll sort it out later. We'll rewrite the rules as we always do. This has been recording the whole time. hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
I said that.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Is the mic on now?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see.
Price. We're doing the review.
Oh, we apparently we've thought about changing it from retro to girl review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
So
sounds like something
I
we
feel
would
like that actually was a conversation
Yeah,
that
that-
would have been behind.
It's
Yeah.
right here.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to another controversial episode of the F Movie Podcast.
Per usual.
Per usual. We're your hosts. You know us. It's Price. It's Nathan. It's Dylan. It's Mason. Actually, in that order. And Price actually came in first. I'm feeling generous today.
Oh well, I just got back from Mars, so
We missed you, Price.
Praise.
yeah, you did.
I'm glad that all of our signals got through and the message was heard one for
Still
one.
got a little bit of that Martian dust on it.
Yeah, it looks like these pants are really dirty still.
Yeah,
actually.
it's glad. I'm glad to see you're not having to sweat through that isotope anymore.
Yep, finally made it.
Oh god! If you don't know what we're talking about, go watch that movie. I don't tell you to go watch our reviews often. It's probably worth it.
That one's gonna be good.
That one's good. It's a healthy amount of.
There's going to be
melody.
some editing on that one.
Yeah, Nathan
Watch
actually
out.
has to edit it.
Whoa.
So
Look, there's seasons where I edited.
Yeah, one.
I like the past
Season
tense
one.
of that, knowing full well it definitely hasn't been this season.
Birdemic, check that one out.
Oh, yeah.
That's his
Whoa.
finest work.
Of all the films. Anyways, Nathan, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to be reviewing House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 version.
Not to be confused with the non-existent 2007 version.
Well, that would have been Return to House on Haunted Hill,
Yes.
which I also watched, and don't. It's very not worth watching. It's one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Oh god.
Whoa.
for
I-
Nathan to say that too.
I think I
Wow.
would give it just a 0 just because of how angry it made me.
Oh
if we
my
just want to
God.
throw
What
out
about
a random
Quarantine
review on something.
versus Wreck?
Quarantine versus Wreck.
You
You
did
didn't
watch, like,
like
6 of those,
Quarantine
yeah.
either.
Yeah, but Quarantine at least was like okay
Okay.
by
Oh, a
comparison.
0 is
This-
completely different.
This
Okay.
is like
That's a
this
different
is
ballgame.
genuinely the kind. It was the kind of trash where I was thinking the whole time, how do people get money to make movies when this is the shit that they make? Like it was that unbelievable to the point where I was like, I feel like I could just make a movie. Like I could have made a much better story than this.
It's easy.
It's so easy.
All you need is anyway. So, House on Haunted Hill. So not the Return, which is
Not the Return.
right. So the first trip, although
Yes.
it's technically the second trip because it's a
Yeah,
remake.
yeah.
But
So the
Yeah.
1999 remake of the 1959 classic horror film.
Classic.
It is.
it is.
It is. It is very much a classic.
Go ask the horror fans, Price. You're not a fan of horrors.
And I mean, this is a this is a
Wordplay.
modern,
Yeah.
modern for the time remake.
Modern
of,
1999 time of it. Yeah.
of that original story with a group of characters who don't really know why, but they have all been invited to this house that is known to be haunted to survive the night in order to win $1 million at the beginning of the next day if they see it through and don't leave the house.
Each.
Each.
Mhm.
And if
Yes.
people leave, that $1 million gets distributed to the rest of the winners.
Which I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
right.
he said that.
They
No,
said
he
that.
said that.
Oh, okay.
He
I just
definitely-
thought it was like a
definitely did.
reveal at the end.
And at the end, like he had all the checks.
Yeah,
written
for-
to-
That's what I do.
Cash.
I didn't. I guess I
Which
didn't catch it.
smug
earlier.
of him.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So, to just kind of, I guess, go ahead and jump into this movie, that's kind of the basic premise, but I want to start at the beginning of this movie, because there's kind of a little bit into it, there's going to be like a whole like rolling of the credits with like a Marilyn Manson song as it's like leading up to the house, but the pre-side of this, I found a lot of things that I really enjoyed. So we meet the host of this night in the haunted house.
Mr. Price.
Mr. Price, Mr.
Yeah,
Barbosa.
I heard it the entire time too. I was just like, fucking Price.
I was
so-
there.
He is like just this haunted house, haunted theme park,
Scare King. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like a scare king, like very
Schemy.
a very creative and well off business person in the world of like horror entertainment. And one thing that I found very funny about this introduction to him is they have him at the opening of his brand new park, and it is Universal Islands of Adventure, and the roller coaster that they're showing off
The
is the
Incredible
Hulk.
Mhm.
It looked like I mean, it was.
They
the exact
didn't
same.
hide that at all.
No.
Yeah.
There's a couple of little like tweaks that they made
wouldn't
to
have
it, like
Of course you
visually,
know,
like
it's
they're
so-
like, oh, have you ever seen one that starts at the top? And I mean, yeah, the Hulk kind of looks like, I guess if you don't see the whole lineup, like it is like a launch coaster, but it made it.
Yeah.
They were pointing to it, trying to imply like, yeah, it does start up there, and then they have like a whole elevator scene where they're going up, which I also
The elevator
find
scene
really
was good.
funny. The
I did.
elevator
I
scene
did
was
too.
really
It was a
good.
good intro.
Yeah.
Like that would be, you know, as someone who does like theme parks, I think I would really get a kick out of that whole thing if that were like a pre-ride
Mhm.
show that happened. At
Pre-ride
some
ride,
kind
if
of
you
park
will.
like this.
Yeah.
Like that would be really cool. It's like a whole fake falling elevator with like some screens on top and bottom. But anyway, they get really over the top with their like horror aspect of this. They show show these people on the roller coaster with two trains going almost simultaneously, like very close to one another, with the one with real people trailing a fake roller coaster,
Mhm.
and then they have the roller coaster break and
Yeah.
launch this other group off of it.
Like the one that's right in front of them.
Yeah.
But it was full of dummies, which
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
I was confused about.
Yeah, well, so that was supposed to be the whole thing. Is it's supposed to like just scare you into thinking like, oh my god,
Oh, God.
something's
There's people
wrong.
dead.
I'm gonna die.
Mhm.
There you go.
So they just send a fake train
A cart.
Yeah.
full of dummies.
Right.
That would be
After every-
mind-bogglingly
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah,
Well,
like
to get the
it's-
train back on the rails and keep doing that on a daily
But
return basis. too.
This is
Yeah.
kind of
If you
like
ram
the introduction to the fake outs that you're going to be seeing in this movie throughout, because they don't tell you that, you know, this is all staged as they're going through every part of this whole presentation, like the whole thing with the track just randomly breaking. It shows the track breaking, then it cuts to just like this tech assistant guy coming up to Price and having this very phoned in, like, Houston, we have a problem kind of line that he delivers to him. And then it cuts back and like has the train going off the rails, and it's like, oh yeah, the dummy on the car is messed up or whatever, as it becomes apparent like, oh no, it was all just fake.
Mhm.
So when did, to jump more into the movie for you good people, when did it show the
Whoa,
sanitarium, the sanitarium scene with them like torturing the I don't know, inmates' patients?
Oh,
When
that
did that
was
scene
awesome
happen?
in the beginning.
that's also
Well,
pretty-
where at? Like,
So
I think
it
that was
happened. It
the
shows the
very
house.
start.
No, yeah, I think it is like
Yeah,
like when the
that's
movie
like
starts?
that's the very
That's the
opening
intro
of the movie
yeah.
is like what's happening at the sanitarium,
oh,
because
okay.
it does that, and then it like has this kind of 90s like true
fade back to
crime,
reality.
like,
crime,
you know,
yeah.
the guy in the trench coat just talking about like, oh, this
No,
terrible thing
the
happened.
other part, like that, there was another part
Yeah.
that was much more gruesome. Like where it's like you go in the sanitarium again and they're like torturing the patients.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like they're
here's how I
torturing
can
them,
define
and
it.
then
There's a part
the
with
patients.
there's a
break
part where
in.
the nurse's titties get out, and then there's a part where the nurse's titties aren't out.
That's when they all got released. Was the
Yeah, that's when it goes full
Yes.
Rob Maya. Right. Okay, we're talking about
Yeah,
that one.
the
Yeah.
release
Yeah,
night
that-
scene is the
That's
very
the
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Now, I feel like we need to
So
preface
Right.
this with the fact that these
No,
two
I'm a good boy.
watched a version of this film that was illegal and
I'm a good
was
noodle.
out of sequence.
And a
Yeah.
little, and a
And they
little
didn't
choppy.
decide to, like, you know, see what it would look like in sequence.
If anything,
Yeah.
it made us pay more attention because we were like, "This has got to come
Nope.
back."
Nope. Crazy inmate, violent
Hey, you know what it
murder,
was?
boobs.
It was the roller coaster train track that like it went off, but guess what? It switched back on. It just flipped off for 30 seconds to 2
Was that the
minutes.
editor's joke? Is that like I'm gonna take
That's
this
what it
scene
was.
and
Yeah,
like,
we watched the
look,
editor.
we're
Yeah,
the
maybe.
no, get the fuck out. It's just a bad website being bad about
Okay,
movies.
can we jump more into like the meat
Yes,
of the
so-
actual movie?
All right, so
Okay, so what we're getting to the house
when
now,
we're at the house,
Marilyn
and-
Manson, Sweet Dreams.
Yeah,
is
okay,
just
let's
finished
first start
playing.
with that.
yeah,
Marilyn Manson's like the Sweet Dreams comes in while he's just like making a phone call or something.
yeah.
And the whole thing keeps playing for like a minute, uninterrupted, where Price is just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is not how you use this song.
That is not actually
Yes.
what happened in the movie.
In the movie, it's
Because
just
in the
slowly
movie-
paying
I
out
watched
the
the
hand.
movie.
Well, you've watched a
You
version of
watched
this movie.
something.
Ours was not different
You-
from yours. It was just
Here it comes. I'm gonna
That,
pull up that
that
scene
No,
right
scene,
now.
He's not remembering
most
that
of
right now.
that
What's that
song is playing while they are like in
In
the
the
vehicles
cars,
driving up
coming
to the
in.
house.
Yeah, but a
It's-
solid third of that song is
it's-
him sitting at that desk
and
doing
he was
nothing.
emailing.
And he was
He was
emailing.
talking to somebody about,
Oh,
oh
no,
yeah,
he-
just
they
get
are
all
about
of
that
the
part.
attendance list
Yeah.
together, blah 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 blah, and it's playing in the background, and then it like you said, then it by itself changes the names. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's still playing.
Fades
then,
out, goes,
and
shows the
then the
house,
cars
cars are
come
coming
in,
in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
But they do play it for like.
Sorry,
over
we
a
have to
minute.
take everything with a grain of salt from you guys because you guys watched this weird
We
edit.
watched plenty of this
But
movie.
the-
Yes,
Did you-
I know exactly what happens. in
Did you
this
guys
movie.
see the
Out of
bear scene,
curiosity,
though?
did you get
Oh
the
my
very beginning opening credits where it was like all the really weird stuff with like string running through?
And it kept having like they really like the effect where they have somebody going like this,
Yeah.
and like they did it in slow motion.
So
I hated that.
Can't
that
remember.
is the exact same style of intro that the whole Dark Anthology
Mm-hmm.
series of video games.
That's
that-
why I did like it, but it just went on too long.
Yeah.
This movie, after watching it, I feel like its structure, like narrative structure wise, is so incredibly similar to Until Dawn. Like I feel like Until Dawn took so much from this movie.
The
Because it's the-
sanitarium.
Well, not the same.
Not
I'm
necessarily
saying
beat for
just
beat,
the-
just like
I'm
how
saying
the
narratively,
structure
the
is.
idea that you have a real horror element, like a true actual
and
supernatural
then
event
Zombie
going
Relic,
on.
yeah.
Meanwhile, you have multiple layers of people like trying to trick each other,
Mhm.
and you as the audience are not fully aware of what
Mhm.
is real and what isn't real until it gets revealed to you.
Is
Like, it's
Rami Malek
very-
Mr. Price?
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
So-
Because all I
Yeah.
can think of for anybody that tricks anybody is like the chainsaw scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a real standout one,
Yeah,
for sure.
I do want to talk about the list of betrayals that happen in this cast. So first of all, the characters and the motivations they chose to do it are totally reversed with the plot that they give us, and that's a big gripe of mine. Because as I mentioned earlier in this film, the premise for most of the people in the house
So in
are
that
is that
sweet,
they're going to
sweet
get
million.
$1 million or even more if there are less people to claim it at the end. They're like, 7 million is the pool. If you're the last person there,
and they don't try killing each other.
They never try killing
really
themselves.
don't, which is something you would almost expect would happen.
Yeah.
Given that situation, like you would think that's the
that's the
point
chaos.
of
That's the
contention.
whole-
that
yeah.
like that's what
Yeah.
would cause people to end up killing each other and not even being a part of the house.
Don't even question the house even when the house starts doing house stuff.
Continue your thought.
My follow-up problem with that is that the people who are killing each other are all the rich people with their own personal motivations, and they don't need the power. The doctor, which is the affair, as we find out, one of the affairs, I guess we change.
Mrs. Price.
Phoenix, was it Famke, whatever?
It's Mrs. Price.
Finn something.
Yeah, whatever. She was.
I know there's
Mrs.
like
Price.
Yes. So.
I can remember that
And
Oh,
name.
then-
you're talking about yeah.
Yeah. She was,
Oh my
Jean
God.
Grey.
yeah, Jean Grey and all the older. Movies.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, and then Mr. Price.
I don't think he's trying to kill her.
No, but we're also not always so sure that he's like. I mean, but if she happened to die, you know?
Yeah.
But
I think
very-
his is more joking. I think she's actually like, I want to kill.
Yeah,
this man.
because to be
Well,
fair,
I mean,
there's
she did try and shoot him.
yes.
If
And
he
poison
didn't have the
And
bulletproof vest, then he
Yeah.
would have been done for at least a couple of times.
Speaking of shooting Mr. Price in that bulletproof vest, there's that random scene. It's not so much random, but it's a random motivation where it's one of the blonde girls. It's the one that keeps her head.
Yeah, because they look a
not-
lot alike.
not-
That was
Sonya
one of my biggest
Blade.
gripes is she never shuts her mouth. The whole time her mouth is open. She's going like,
That's probably not
the
wrong.
entire time.
Plus, she,
I don't know how you all didn't notice. It was open the entire time.
They looked identical. To
So-
me.
the blonde girl who's like
the
the
executive,
good character.
the one who,
Yeah.
the camera girl or the other
no,
one?
no, the other one.
Oh,
Yeah.
The one in the
Not Veronica
like,
Vaughn.
business.
That was Veronica Vaughn from
Was it
Billy
really?
Madison. People.
The guy who kept
know her as
running
Sonya
away
Blade
was the
from
Night at the
Mortal Kombat.
Roxbury guy.
Yeah,
He's like the guy that.
yeah, he's one of
As
those.
soon as
ones.
Veronica
Yeah.
Vaughn came on screen, Kelly and I both went, "That's Veronica." It said, "So hot."
Yeah, she is, and then she dies very quickly, and then we don't see her anymore because she was definitely shooting Mortal Kombat around this time. Anyway,
Mm.
so the point is not Sonya Blade, the other blonde.
Veronica.
Sure, and so she gets the gun, sees Mr. Price, is so just bothered by all the stuff that's happened. So then she's just like starts blasting him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Like, wasn't it every bullet
he
too?
Bro,
shows up all bloody and like
Right.
clearly,
Well,
like,
you all are skipping the
incoherent.
insane scene.
I know
too.
we're missing the insane scene where they log him up and do that, but
That's why he's acting like crazy. He's
Sure.
just like, blah, blah,
to,
blah, blah,
to
blah.
this point
Yeah.
though, it's almost unreasonable for her to be like, because up until this point she's kind of invested in people. She's hanging out with the one black guy,
Yeah, black guy.
and she's like, yeah, maybe we're gonna be something. And I'm like, you're moving way too fast, lady.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, maybe I'm not an executive. I've got this whole history. Hey, where'd you go? And then the movie's like, don't worry about her. And then
well, you're skipping a lot.
I know
here.
I am. I'm just saying relative to this character's story. It's like so far we've got this caring, what seems to be having her own motivations woman, and then suddenly she's just blasting people because she went through a little bit of horrific stuff, but it just feels like it's a very deep leap from
she,
this. to
she
that.
has the moment where she's seeing the guy that she has
Yeah.
an interest in, except it's
Leap
not
into the
him,
pool.
and if
Jump
she
into
goes,
blood,
jump into a
yeah.
pool of blood, she reaches in to try and save him.
And he's like, "What are you doing?"
And
Yeah.
then something starts trying to pull her into it. And that's
it's
what
not
gets her
very
all freaked
strong.
out.
No, and it also didn't do a very good job, and we never actually see it. It's
Yeah,
like,
there's just out of curiosity. I mean, I've seen this movie before, but is there any degree to which it didn't there was a thought that this was going to turn out to be a completely non-supernatural
Nope.
event?
Nope.
That
Not at
y'all-
all.
no,
And-
this is gonna be supernatural.
And this is where I'll chime in because, like, to your point just then, that question, the main qualm that I had with this movie was it was so like pull and tug the entire movie. Like Mr. Price, for instance, just keeps revealing like, "Ha, it's all part of my plan. Ha,
Yeah.
yes, this was my scheme. Ha, I got you again." And I'm just like, God, pick a lane because like the bulletproof vest was one. Like him getting trapped was another thing where it's just like he couldn't have planned all of this. And then like the wife who's been having an affair with whoever,
Everybody.
yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, but the
like
affair.
faking her own death and
Yeah.
then being revived.
Like, and then that happened, and he's like, "Yeah, I know you've been messing around with him, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Damn it, he knows everything."
The
But then
problem
she actually
is
kills
they
him.
Yeah.
wanted you to feel like, oh, maybe there's some mystery. I think is what they were
Sure.
intending,
Yeah.
but they didn't tip their hand at all.
No.
No,
And you have to tip your hand
Just
at
a
least
little.
a little bit.
Just a little. I needed.
I got a
that.
red card. At
Yeah.
least give us that.
Yeah.
But they were just like, I've got cards.
Yeah.
I was like,
I never felt like Price was in control the whole the
No.
whole time they were there.
the whole
I
time.
didn't
Because,
think
like,
he
they
was
showed-
in control. It just kept flashing me with like, he's the head of the snake all of a sudden,
Mhm.
and then like some shit would happen, and then all of a sudden he was alive again, and and everything was hunky dory because he was in charge again, and then like you said, it was just chaos again.
After you saw his cameraman got his face eaten off and
Yeah.
whatever, like I didn't feel like he was in control
Yeah.
the whole rest of the movie.
Yeah.
The one little aside about that room. Did you all notice? And I don't know if your old version would have looked this way, but
That's true.
in the cameraman
What's
room in
the
the first
difference?
scene, it's framed
The
up,
Blockbuster.
those
Mhm.
aren't actually Blockbuster. Like
No,
you can
no,
tell
you
it
can
was
tell.
added in
Yes.
post.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was so like they were almost like kind of floaty in the way
Yep.
they were sitting there, like a
I
couple of
definitely noticed it.
Blockbuster VHS tapes just sitting.
And it's the
in
entire
frame.
frame for
Yeah.
like 30 seconds is that Blockbuster thing. It's like that's some very not good product
So
placement
Yeah.
there.
I wonder if Blockbuster paid for some of this, and then
Oh, they
forgot.
must have.
And they forgot about it, and then they're like, "Shit, we didn't put it."
Yeah.
It's like,
Editor, can you
"Ah."
fix that? And he's like, "Yeah, there's this cool new thing called computer graphics going on, and I think I
And we're
can
going to
use
use
it."
a lot of it at the end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Especially with the spooky like
Yeah,
misty.
the crazy
Yeah.
mist monster.
Buffalo
Yeah.
monster. So I wanna talk a little bit about our least favorite character, and it's that soy boy Beta Cuck, French Stewart or whatever his name is. It's the guy who's like inherited the home, or whatever.
He was honestly
the
my
one
favorite.
that was just like, I want out of here.
I want
out
out.
of
Give me
here.
my money. I don't care. I want
Night at
out.
the Roxbury guy.
He was my favorite.
Yeah. No, he's the fucking worst.
What's
But
his
he's
name?
he's easily the best actor. He's got some of the best lines.
Oh, that's
Like-
not fair. Everybody else got shitty lines. I mean,
I got a line that I
alright.
thought was
Was
funny.
it Preston?
The,
What was his name?
uh,
It started
sounds
with a P.
right. That probably was
Press.
One of the girls was talking to the other one and had like a earn or fuck your way back in someone's trailer park is showing.
That's Sonya Blade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that line was pretty
that's
good.
just one that I wrote down while we were or while I was watching it.
I'm glad that one stuck to you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of great lines in this movie.
There isn't. Yeah, that guy's a
But
soy
yeah,
boy Bettycook, and then he dies, and then he soy boy Bettycooks himself even after death, and saves
Pritchett.
her, the other blonde.
The one who doesn't have her mouth shut.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
That's what she says. That's how she is the whole
I
time.
know it just sounds a little misogynistic.
Well,
when
they
you say
needed
it.
her for the second movie.
Wait, does she come back?
Her character.
Well, yeah, surely that actress.
So the
doesn't-
guy's character isn't mentioned at all in
That's fair.
Return.
He's
but
barely mentioned in the first one.
she is like killed off screen to further plot reasons, and it's her sister that comes back.
Of course
It always is.
And they show like flashes of her, but it's her like with a robe over her head and like her.
Oh, so you never
So
actually.
you can't see her.
Yeah.
It's an insanely bad movie. Anyway,
Now I'm getting more intrigued the more he talks about
don't
it. Anyways.
don't do it to
It's
yourself.
like the second Cube movie. Just
Alright.
skip that one and go to the
Yeah.
third.
Is there a third one?
I liked it.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking
Cube
about this.
Zero. No, surely not.
Yeah. Anyway, any other deep thoughts we have about it? Coffee?
That CGI at the end was abhorrent. And you're gonna say, yeah, it's 99, but it is
Even
the
in 99
focal
there was
point
better.
for a long time.
It wasn't even like just the end. It was like that misty creature, which like I am gonna give it the excuse of it was 99,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't know. This movie, not only did I have to pay attention to like the couple of the time jump loop things, but I also had to sit there and pay attention to like whose scheme it was all along. If the house was actually doing the killing, if it wasn't just like visions and little quests from side characters, essentially. But yeah, the CGI definitely didn't help on top of all of it.
I will say I did like that it jumped pretty quickly into the action.
Oh yeah.
This
Yeah,
movie.
I think and that's a
Well,
good
I
sign.
think you say it jumped in pretty quick, but I thought it had a pretty long like pre-show before it got to the house, and I thought all of that was really good too. I had completely forgotten about that whole beginning montage before they got to the house.
I
But
didn't.
I
There was
thought all
boobs
that
out.
was nice.
Yeah.
And I always remember the nudity. Always.
Yeah, it was just a quick
Nice.
flash of like literally it was just like
Just a couple boobs here.
hey,
Crazy
nudity,
people.
see
A
ya.
couple more boobs.
You won't see anymore.
And then even whenever Price is getting like in the spin wash or whatever, more boobs.
In the spin
Was there
watch.
more?
Even some butt.
Yeah, did you? So the flashback,
Spooky
well, not
babes.
flashbacks, but like the flashes into what So there's like moments where it goes black and white,
Yeah.
and it's like them in
Swimming.
the psychiatric ward stuff, and I feel like that's supposed to be like flashes into like the world of the ghosts that are trapped in this place. What did you all think of those?
I'm glad you thought more deeply of it. I'm going to use that as the question reference for right now because I didn't think anything of that. I was like,
I just thought that they were like
I think he's just fucked.
entranced, yeah, and like,
Right.
I don't know.
There could.
My perspective on that was always like that's whenever that character had probably died, if I'm remembering right,
Mhm.
and that was them like now trapped in that world, being like tortured, experimented on, what have you, by the doctor.
I couldn't get over that there were in the spinning thing that it was like a butler playing basketball or something, and I'm like, what the fuck?
They had a real joy with having the doctor character moving strangely on camera, like where he would just like turn towards the camera and then just suddenly like be holding
Yeah.
a knife and smiling and then just like quickly move out of frame and stuff. I appreciated that sort of thing. Like I like that kind of like little weird horror stuff.
Mhm. It's
Well,
just
definitely-
it's slightly more bizarre than normal, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's
and
not-
it kept it, it kept it sort of edgy. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think this movie's actually pretty spooky. I won't lie to you.
I didn't think it was very spooky at all.
No, I
I
think
didn't.
sometimes
It
I
was
like,
all
this is
just
a
such an
spooky
act,
thing.
and I was just like,
It was,
this
but
is. I mean, I think that people are actually dying. I just didn't.
I just didn't know if I was going to see her boob or her butt out of nowhere. And I
Yeah.
was like, ooh.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. It was.
If you were playing that game the whole time, you were definitely
Really,
on
really,
edge
the
of your
only
seat.
scenes I can think of that I actually liked, honestly, out of this movie was the one where Veronica Vaughn, like it shows the tape of her
I don't know who you're
getting
talking
killed.
about.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Sort of
Because,
like a
it's
found
like the
footage.
twitching and then like
Yeah.
that weird noise. I thought that was good. And when Price walks in, because to this point you don't know who's like if he's really doing this or not. And then he walks in there and like turns his camera guy around and his face is eaten off,
Mhm.
and then it does that camera view of the doctor coming into the frame and
Yeah.
everything. I like
That-
both of
so
those quite
that-
a bit.
Spooky.
Yeah.
That like
Yeah.
whole doctor frame thing is something that always sticks out in my mind whenever I think of this movie.
Yeah.
It's just that one little moment of just the creepy doctor on camera with the knife
Right.
suddenly.
You should go for that as Halloween. Or
Yeah.
New Year's.
It is so
New Year's.
well, so I'd have to do the same kind of mustache you did for your butler.
Yeah,
outfit.
you would. Yeah, you would. Anyway, so the question being that we did not think as deeply as you did into it, Nathan. I went in with dumb brain on this one, and I was like, okay, what you got? But as far as the pacing, I think that's a good leap off back to that
Sure.
point to talk about Fat, Thin, and Perfectly Fit. I'm not allowed to talk about it any more further for contractual obligations. Mason. Yes.
I think this movie was exactly how long it needed to be. I don't think that there was. Okay, so while they were in the house, it did its job, and I'll agree with Nathan that beforehand it kind of gave you a pretty good idea of like who the host really was. He likes those like tricks. He likes the scares and stuff like that. So I appreciated kind of both of those segments. Obviously, the first one was only a few minutes, but yeah, I thought it was fine. Needed a couple people out at the end. It definitely did not need to go any further than how do we get down from here? And then it fucking
Well,
pans
and then
out.
also
Yeah.
it says, "Oh, what a party!"
Did he
Oh.
say that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
did.
something like that.
I
What
don't
was
remember
it?
that.
Oh, that was one kick-ass party.
That's what it was.
That's what the
Yeah.
line was.
Yeah. Cheesy line at the end. What are you gonna
Oh,
do? At least they panned out and they credits roll. I don't need to see
Sunglasses.
more.
What?
I didn't need to see like that window opening and the fucking spirit grab.
Right.
You know, just fucking pan out and
Just
just be
let-
done with
just
it.
let
It's all
them-
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty fit.
I saw the trailer for this beforehand, and I said if this movie is a minute over hour 30, it's wrong. And the movie's runtime is 132, but the credits
Yes, it
roll
is.
before the 130 mark. I did check. So movie's fit.
good.
The pacing I thought was pretty good, and it didn't really overstay its welcome too much on its stuff. But yeah, I mean, it got to the action very quickly, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Plus boobs.
I mean,
And butt.
you
Yeah.
can definitely say that they wanted to get their money's worth out of that Manson song. I think
Yeah,
they spent
that's
a little
fair.
too long playing that and like the whole driving of the cars up to the house.
That did take a while.
Mhm.
Oh my god, yeah.
My mental memory of this movie is always that's where the movie actually begins. I always forget about the whole like. I mean, it's like almost 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Before you
It
get
seemed
to
like
that
about 20.
point.
The first elevator.
And plus,
ride prank.
they spent like probably 5 minutes outside of the house.
Just like talking with the
Where's
guy.
Mr.
Yeah.
Price?
Which so
Blah.
I will
Yeah.
say like my perspective now of having like played like Until Dawn and all the kind of games that again I really they don't say that this was an inspiration like anywhere that I've looked because I was trying to look up to see if like this inspired
Had
them,
any connection?
but it must have
Yeah.
because this is so similar. And having that perspective, I kind of enjoyed that little like pre-intro, like them getting
Sure.
to know each other and like that weird sort of conversation going on because that just felt like what those games do.
That's
you know?
true, and it would be pretty like unnatural to just
Yeah, they-
walk into the
Yeah.
house with a bunch of strangers. I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So overall, like I mean, yeah, I could maybe snip out a little bit of the Manson song and the car drives. Like it doesn't have to be that long, but I don't really mind that it was there either. So I'd say it's pretty fit.
I would say it's fit as well just for the lengthwise, but on the choices that they made with the movie, it's definitely fat for the reasons that Nathan described. I did say that the movie jumps into the action pretty quick, but that's the only part I think I'm going to remember. So like that beginning part really needs to go. And in that a lot like that time allotted, I would do some Dylan editing, which would be like
You
adding-
already got some editing on it. I don't know if I want to touch it.
just adding in stuff to make the house more like spooky. Like have some more of the cuts of the doctor on camera, or have some like actually grotesque kind of things happening, because there's really like the body count really is pretty low in this movie
there's
until
like 5 of them.
until the creepy CGI monster comes on screen,
It
and
just
then
starts
like
absorbing and goring.
people just drop like flies at that point, and they were really wanting to
Mhm.
milk that really far. They should have used those bodies by like having somebody going crazy and like killing them, or like the house getting them. Like it needed something to make this more spooky, because there was very few times in this movie I felt like this is a horror movie.
So you were satisfied with the length, but you thought it was a little girthy.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a good way to put it.
It's a shower.
Well, are we
It
ready
is.
for our
Yeah.
scores then?
Yeah.
let's do
Mason.
I think that this movie was also, it had an identity crisis, not only with like, well, who's actually in charge, yada yada, but also just, I thought that this movie was also kind of a comedy, or it was trying to go a comedic route. Not all the way. I think it was definitely more horror, but I don't know. It didn't land there for me either, because like Price had charisma, not this one.
Nope.
No.
And his wife, which Jean Grey.
Yeah.
I think that.
Famke Jensen, that's her name.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like they had a lot of the right pieces together. It just how they chose to execute, like just the overlappingness that Nathan was talking about earlier, with like the treachery here and the little side stories there. But anyways, I give this movie a 5.5. I liked it okay, but after I actually like look back at it, it's just not. I don't know. I can't give it much more than that, because it's just, I couldn't get over the fact that Price was in charge. Like,
Price.
Try to be in charge.
Yeah.
Like, pick a lane. I know I said it earlier,
But hey, some things we
but I would. You know what? And I would have been fine if the entire thing had been staged.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like if at the very end he comes out there to those two and is like, what
Nah.
are you gonna do with my $8 million?
Mhm.
And like the whole thing was all in his hands the whole time. Like I was like, you got me. But instead he got himself. I don't know. He got.
He got.
He got.
I'm not too far off from you in normal standard. I'm gonna give this a 6. It is firmly in the 6s, where it's like, by all standards,
Mm-hmm.
like a bad movie with its acting and then CG and that stuff. But my enjoyability of it was not to be distracted from this. Yeah, I appreciate a little flashing nudity here and there, because you just got to keep my attention when you're not going to go. If you're not going to have the best action, you got to have the best action.
With butt.
Yeah. And horror babes, that's my thing. So girls who are hot and then suddenly they're monsters, but then I've been waiting for the monsters.
What
You
about?
might actually want to watch Return to
All right.
What
I'm
was
going
that
to
movie that Price picked for me?
Brokeback Mountain.
No.
No, that was definitely.
Pathology.
Pathology.
That one had
Yeah.
some crazy broads.
Yeah, well,
Some horror broads, or
yeah,
whatever you
but
just call them.
right, but they don't turn into monsters. They're just
There's
people.
monsters
People
from the
are
beginning.
monsters all along. Right. So I like a turn. I like a heel
There
turn.
is a ghost lesbian scene in Return to House on Haunted Hill.
That's how it got the
There
money.
is.
where they turn into like weird faceless monsters,
Yeah, that's
but they
perfect.
also are like full nude.
Dylan's
Fantastic.
like
I'm
7.5 right
Yeah,
away.
right at
Yeah.
7, and it's not going less. Yeah. So for all of the smut aside from all of it, it's a dumb movie. Like that, I don't think that's a contention for at least my opinion on it. But it's like dumb fun. There's just enough like horror where it's not like a super scary movie, but it's using its horror elements fun. But if you said, Dylan, why not give it more than that? Because it's not that fun. I'm not going to excuse some of the other dumb stuff or fun stuff they could have done. I really thought it would have been cool to see them start picking each other apart for the money. Kind of like in like Saw 2, there's like a thing like that going on for a little bit. I would have loved for that angle to be played
I
out
love
more.
Saw 2.
Saw 2 is good.
And just like Saw 2, you're sitting there, like,
Wondering.
figuring out the cast, too. That was another thing that I liked about this movie, more than anything else. It was like, I know that guy from somewhere. That girl looks familiar. Turns out it's Vaughn.
Veronica.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a
Vaughn.
Night at the Roxbury guy. Turns out it's Jean Grey. All these people who were
This-
somewhat
Cap-
big.
Captain
In the
Barbosa.
90s? Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 90s, this cast was
I
actually
didn't
pretty loaded.
make that
Yeah.
connection at
Really?
first either. Yeah.
I actually didn't
I
know
saw
the
it
entire
immediately.
movie.
Who's
Jeffrey
Captain
Rush came on
Barbosa?
screen, and for some reason I knew that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So I give this movie a 6.
Who is that? Pirates of the Caribbean.
I love that
That's
movie.
Barbosa?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
He's the other captain,
Not the Davy Jones guy.
not the
From
other
the
David
first
Jones.
movie.
And
The
he's-
one with the monkey.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. But he's like full costume. I
yeah.
wouldn't have been able to tell.
I'm with you.
anyway.
I didn't know. Actually, didn't notice him at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nathan.
Here you go, Nathan.
Okay, sure. I'll go next.
Yeah. It's
So
his movie. You broke the rule.
yeah,
I'll go.
Go,
this
Bryce. No, Nathan. Your time will wait.
Yeah,
All right, Dylan's not allowing him to go, so I'll go
Good
instead.
time.
I'm landing actually right where Mason and Dylan are, and on a normal person scale, it's a 3.
Oh, Shit.
How they
Oh,
describe
get the
it-
fuck! Get
Bad.
it, We
How
got
they
paid.
described it is a 3 for me. Like a 6 for them is probably like a 3 for me. And yeah, I didn't enjoy my
half
time
zero?
most of this movie, but for my one watch of this movie, it was fine. Like it wasn't too abhorrent, it wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, but it also didn't too much to pull me in. Like I said, at least there were those 2 scenes that really got me, and Veronica Vaughn was in this movie, so I thought that was awesome.
I don't know how that doesn't put you to a 4 at least.
No, that's what got it to a 3.
Ah.
Because the rest of the characters, even though like I get that they're like horror tropes kind of, at least like they do something and there are some twists and turns along the way. You don't really ever know who's in charge, which is good, but at the end of the day it's a horror movie and it didn't really scare me at all. Same justification like for comedies, like if it didn't make me laugh, what's the point? If this horror movie didn't make me feel scared at all, what's the point? So 3.
Okay, well, I am gonna have the highest score for this.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Surprising
This,
no one.
This movie is interesting to me in like it's got so much of the structure of what I think could have been a really good movie that it kind of just falls short in a lot of different ways to a degree that like I would very much like to see another remake of this. I mean, this one was made in 1999 where you know, we're far enough along from the 1959, 1999. You know, you could do 20, 23, 24, something like that. And
Please
you,
don't.
I mean, you're not that far off. I think this could do with being remade again. I think
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
a lot of good ideas. The
Haunted
whole
Mansion.
mixing of like real horror with fake stuff going on is great. And maybe I'm primed to that because of like the Until Dawn and Dark Anthology series. And I think that's actually probably what's pushed this movie to being better than I expected it was going to be on a rewatch, because I just felt a lot of the connections between this and those games. So anyway, I'm going to land at a 7 with it. I feel pretty solid about it, and it probably also is colored a little bit by the fact that I recently rode the Hulk roller coaster,
Yeah.
so whenever I saw that in the movie, it's just like
You just
the
fixed
whole
on it.
Yeah.
the whole like holding the popcorn and just pointing at the
Yeah. For the Leo moment with that
yeah,
one.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was pretty decent, and I would very much like to see a new version of it, but not the return. I was hoping by watching the return I would get more. And I got much less.
Well, give us the scores of what those fake reviewers had.
Oh yeah, who are the phony reviewers?
Yeah, not the us
The
reviewers.
Not
phonies.
Not the
Not
Well,
the.
no education background in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this did not do very well.
No way.
Wow.
No.
I'm sure everybody's surprised by this. IMDb gives it a 5.6 out of 10. And Rotten Tomatoes...
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh boy's right.
26?
The critic score is a 31%.
Ooh!
While the
Who said that?
audience
Who said
is
that?
42%.
Oh, wow.
42.
There's your 4.
Hey,
Prices
there's
in the house.
so,
I give it a 3.
Oh, we rounded up to 4 for you.
Yeah.
We knew you were
We
wrong.
have a fun rounding system,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So yeah, this movie did not play well out in the general public, which is why it's surprising that a second one was made, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, I would welcome another one, please.
Yes.
I'm actually with you. I think if you
I do too.
here's what you do: you get Ryan Johnson, who's been directing the Knives Out films, to write it
Yeah.
in a Knives Out style writing, and then
That
you
would've
get
been fun.
James
Yeah.
Wan to direct it, the Insidious director. Boom.
Oh my god.
And I'm on board. Well, I think the skeleton's there. The meat.
There's a lot of chewing to
Yeah,
happen.
And I mean,
Yeah.
they could call it House on Haunted Hill again.
Hell,
Like,
yeah,
that's
why
just
not?
a
That's on
callback
track.
to the original once more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm on board. Pitch it. I'll do it.
Well, guys.
Not
Anyway.
many movies to choose from.
Oh boy.
All right. With no further ado.
I just hope 8th grade is not our last movie.
Dude, I hope it's the
Well, it's the
movie.
least likely to be the
Yeah.
next
It's got
movie.
one slot.
What, only one?
Maybe
Yeah,
two.
nobody.
No, it's
One.
one.
Nobody's picked it.
I cannot wait, but it's gonna be a retro review. Actually, it's gonna be a guest review.
It's gonna be a yellow.
You call it all the time, and it's never that.
Oh, retro review
Oh no.
on camera. It's because you had to say something.
We already know what it is.
We already know what it is.
Well, boys, and more importantly, girls, get ready for
God.
our re-review of Raw. Except we are gonna make the girls watch it because
I
Nathan
mean, we
doesn't
can
watch.
try. I
We
guess.
can-
No, I say we get
Kelly-
together. We all watch
Kelly
together,
will.
and the girls
Yeah.
review it right after.
Oh.
I think that'd be a good time.
I don't know if Jill will. I don't think Annabeth will.
Well, they're gonna have to because we're gonna force them to.
I think Hannah will. And
well,
Hannah's
Kelly
eager.
will.
Yeah. We know at least 2 of our 4 female
Companions.
companions, counterparts, and alike will definitely be there. So make sure to tune in for an incredibly special episode of the Effin' Podcast next week-ish to watch Raw again. Oh my god, I can't wait. Make sure to hit the bell. I'm so giddy. I won't even hit him. Thank you.
I'm so giddy.
I'll hurt him. I'm too jacked now. You know what? I shout out this price because if he hadn't said, "You always shout that out," then the face would have not deemed it to be. You're right. So,
Thankfully, I did. And
Look-
now Retro Review will be gone forever.
well, we haven't said that at all. But anyway, let us know in the comments below if you want to watch a remake of this film, or if you want to watch the sequel, and if you think that Lesbian Ghosts are into it. You know, I'm into it.
It's
Are you?
2022.
Yeah, 2020. Are you into it?
This will be out. This review will be out in 23.
Fuck! Anyway, that's our show. Make sure to tune in next week for our very special Raw review. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We're gonna have to get the logistics down for this one.
Yeah, we are.
We are all over the
Oh,
board for not only the wheel, but for the next review.